So what we're going to show you here is a little bit about hairline stuff, because right now I think it's safe to say all of the education that we're seeing has to do with the front, right? The money piece, the face frame, but what happens down here, right? How do we complete that story? And so one of the, what we want to do is share with you a little bit of hot tips here for the nape area. So what I find is my biggest pet peeve is when I look at the back of someone's nape, and most of the time we take our highlights along this angle. Would you agree? Usually we take a foil and we place it along there. Well, what I notice happens, there's two things. One, you're working in an area that is concave and convex, meaning it changes direction. So half of the time placing the foil in there, it's already a struggle and gravity starts to pull. You either get bleed marks right away or you're not able to get it as close to the scalp as you'd like. What I find from behind is when I'm walking, I see these girls with their hair up in a ponytail, and I can always see a line or an inconsistency, or it just looks like one big panel. So what we want to do is actually shift our direction. This may seem strange to some of you, but we're actually going to go diagonal forward. So I'm going to go from this point to that point and draw my line down this way. So by placing my foil in this direction, what it's actually going to do, I want you to think about this before I even put the foil in. So think of, if I'm coloring this piece, when she pulls her hair up in a ponytail now, I'm going to see ribbons of color that look more realistic, like highlights versus a solid sheet. Here's the other thing to think about. Nowadays, people want to see more contrast in their hair color. If you have long hair, where does it usually live? Say the front. Over your shoulders, right? Everyone pulls it over your shoulders. And in order to see that texture and dimension, all those inches, what you want to think about is by having highlights that are going in this direction also, you're going to now see the ribbons of color throughout the length, again, versus it just being one solid blonde block. So I'm going to get started placing in my foils, and I'll catch you up.
Awesome. So we just definitely have a strong love for being able to create blonding behind the chair, but sometimes the time doesn't allow for us to be able to be creative all the time. Do you find that sometimes you have to sacrifice creativity for time working behind the chair? If you do, say, hey, hey. Absolutely. So in being able to create some express techniques, that gives us the opportunity to still customize our looks for our guests and clients, but not have to worry about our timing going way out of control. And Power 9 with Bonder is definitely one of the tools that I find helps me to be able to still work really efficiently behind the chair. So working with a balayage type technique, we're going to take this side section here, and we're going to color this entire section in one shot. So our sectioning here is just a fringe section sectioned out in the top, so a triangle section. And from the middle of that fringe section, we're going to draw a line that connects from the center of that section down to just in front of the ear. That's our entire section that we're going to color just to encompass that face frame, if you will. And I'm going to pinch this hair together, making sure to pinch on top of the section versus on the sides. I don't want to create a tightrope. I want a nice flat surface to be able to work on. And next what we'll do is we're going to pick up our lightener. And what I'm looking to do here is I want to create threads, or almost like a baby light, around the hairline, but still focusing on that freehand painting or that balayage type of a feel. So with maximum tension, we're going to come in, and I'm working with my lightener that's even from corner to corner, creating a bead of lightener there. So when we come in, I want to surface paint through here and just dust that down through. And what we'll do is get a nice, soft, freehand painted balayage type effect. But as we're working here, we'll be able to have a nice lived-in feel at the same time. Now, the important thing here is to make sure that as we build this lightener up, that we don't see the natural color of the hair through that lightener. That means that we have not saturated enough. So as long as we have a nice buildup of lightener there, we'll be in great shape. To ensure that I do that, I make sure that in theory, my bristles of the brush never touch the hair. Only the lightener touches the hair. When I'm out of lightener on my brush, that lets me know I need to pick up more lightener so I can really build that up on top of the section here. So we'll continue to do this. We're going to saturate through to the ends. And like you saw Sean earlier, we're going to walk this down and color the opposite side so that we can connect this lightness all the way through and have this done in one section.
So I want to show you a few more hot tips when it comes to foiling to help you be able to get better results. I feel like sometimes it's always the little things that you get that really stick with you and help you throughout the days. So first thing is this. You'll notice that the type of weave that I want to do is a micro stitch into a slice. Reason being, I want the softness internally and the impact on the edge. So what I like to do is just weave right on the scalp. So here, I'll turn her a little bit, and then I'll go in, and just the key thing is not to go too deep when you're weaving without pre-sectioning first. So I'll just go in and pick up my little micro and then slide in to the front. So the result that that's going to give me, you'll see, is a softer, finer highlight back here, a thicker, chunkier piece around the hairline. So it's really addressing the way the trends are these days. Now, the other tip I want to give you for blending and blurring is this. When I secure the foil in first, keep away from the hairline, give yourself a few inches, and really focus on securing the ends, because you know, no matter what, gravity is going to happen and start to pull it. So instead of fighting with that, I just go ahead and secure and really saturate all of the ends to make sure that I got them covered, like Ryan was mentioning. And then here's my tip for you. So in order to be able to get closer to the scalp, we need to elevate the foil out. Think about it like balayage. You wouldn't balayage with the hair down flat on the head. So why are we always trying to blend our foils flat on the head? The other thing is, oftentimes when we go to blend, we do a vertical brush stroke, right? What tends to happen is you go back and forth so many times, you created another strong line. So think about balayage, we keep our brush flat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold the foil up and elevate it from the head. That's gonna allow me to secure these buckled pieces here, and watch how I keep the brush flat, and it's going to just pull all of that hair really tightly into the foil and give me a really nice blend. The other win for this is, because the brush is flat, you don't have too much product that's pushing behind the foil, so it's going to allow you to avoid getting any bleeding throughout the back. If you learn something, make some noise. All right, one final thing here that I'm going to show you is when it comes to tipping out while you're working. So oftentimes we would go and foil the whole head and then come back in and tip things out. What happens is this hair lifts more than this hair. Have you had that happen? Right. So what we want to do is tip it out as we go. My tip for you to tip is bring everything over towards the front and then just go low on the hair strand, slide it all up in one go, and look at that. It left us with fine little threads to be able to highlight and give us that beautiful tip out.